We will round out the rest of the Rhino Christian stuff. So back to the September 28th Impact, we get a recap of Rhino versus Christian at No Surrender. We then get a Rhino at the press conference. The doctors have advised him not to wrestle for 12 weeks, but he can't do that.
He's like, fuck that, concussions aren't even real.
No brains in wrestling. I'm fucking Katsuyori Shibata.
Sting can't remember what he did yesterday, but yeah.
He wants an 8-mile street fight against Christian at Bound for Glory. This was like bizarre because like it was cut together. Rhino clearly talked for at least like 2 minutes and it was cut down to 30 seconds with like 3 hard edits. It's like, man, the editing on the show is crazy now. During a Chris Sabin, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt versus Alex Shelley, Johnny Devine, and Senshi match, shock of all shocks, Christian joins commentary within the first minute of it.
What do you mean?
We can't have wrestling on the show, Liam. We gotta have angles.
He's also there for, like, a match that has nothing to do with him.
And he is gone before the end of the match. He's literally just here to have an angle.
But let's talk about his t-shirt.
He is wearing a sweet Ed Hardy t-shirt.
Shout out to Ed Hardy. As we've mentioned, a brand that is bafflingly back.
Is it back?
Ed Hardy is back.
Like, properly back?
Not, like in the, like, a like... So, like, 90s, like, fashion is real big at the moment. And with that has come like a renewal of like people buying like vintage Ed Hardy shit.
If we get like the return of like Affliction and Tap Out, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I think kinda. Affliction, maybe. Ed Hardy, yes. Tap Out, probably not.
Don't WWE own Tap Out?
I don't know.
I think they bought Tap Out. Maybe I'm
Sounds
imagining that.
realistic to me.
But yeah. Do you have an Ed Hardy shirt?
I hate it. I will not do it.
You're never gonna wear an Ed Hardy shirt?
No. I don't like that. But it is certainly popular here. Everyone's just dressing like 90s skaters now.
That's cool, I guess. There are worse aesthetics you could cling on to.
It's just like baggy jeans, like 90s washed shirts, and then jackets is the look of fashion in Melbourne.
Christian accepts Rhino's challenge for the 8-mile street fight at Bound for Glory. He says he wishes Rhino was here right now so he could confront him to his face. Rhino appears, but then security immediately intervenes. As we come back, Christian is talking about how lucky Rhino is that security is holding him back.
I love this like little pissant Christian shit.
It's like real straightforward, simple heel stuff, but it works every time.
I know, like, it's the most basic shit, but there's a reason it's been around the entire history of wrestling, you know, like, it just hits.
Yeah, you don't have to complicate it. It could just be the heel being like, you're so lucky security is holding you back, then he breaks off from security, and then he runs away like a coward.
Like, he gets, like, a cheap shot in, and then, like, runs away.
Yeah, Rhino breaks free of security, charges Christian bails, so he is gone for the rest of this match. We'll talk about the rest of this match when we're talking about the X Division. The October 5th Impact, we have a feature on Rhino talking about his tough past. It was a war then and a war today. Some men from the streets attest to how tough and cool Rhino is, as this is set to an instrumental version of Lose Yourself by Eminem. He'll show Christian a nightmare he'll never forget at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really love this, but like I got it.
Yeah, it's a simple like Rhino is a tough man, every man on the street. Christian is like a.
I think I've just had too many Rhino is the Punisher vignettes now.
There is a bunch of stuff, as we mentioned, where Rhino and Christian are involved back and forth with various world title theft angles. And then go home show, we have Christian Cage versus Norman Smiley in an Orlando street fight.
This might be like legitimately my favorite match.
It's like a minute long.
I know, but it's just silly and stupid. And I love him hitting fucking Norman with the chair, but Norman's wearing the fucking football helmet, no sells it, but then he just takes it off and fucking romps him with it.
Christian comes to the ring with 2 chairs. Norman is, as you mentioned, in his like WCW hardcore gear, so like football helmets, pads.
A reference I definitely get.
Yeah, you know Screaming Norman Smiley from WCW?
All I know of him is the hardcore stuff.
Which is all there is really to know about
and that he
Norman
fucks
Smiley.
in the ass.
Yeah, he does love wiggling into your bum.
Somehow that was more lewd than what I said.
A lot of talks about snakes and wiggling in this month of TNA. We explain at one point, TNA explains that Christian posted an open contract for an Orlando street fight, which felt like TNA retroactively trying to explain why this random street fight was happening on TV.
Rhino should have answered that.
That felt like Mike Tenay trying, like on commentary after this was taped, being like, why the fuck is this street fight happening?
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy one. He picked an easy opponent to have a street fight with to like test it out.
Look tough and cool. Yeah. Christian hits Norman with the chair in the hat, but the helmet protects him, so he does a dance.
It's so good.
Norman goes for the wiggle, but Christian low blows him, hits the unprettier. Christian hits a concerto for the win. He pulls out a straitjacket and goes to tie it on Norman. Shark Boy makes the save, but Christian brains him with the football helmet. A lot of concussions this month.
A lot of Shark Boy verse this month.
Shark Boy goes to put the jacket on Christian goes to put the jacket on Shark Boy.
Shark Boy puts it on himself.
Yeah, he puts himself in a straitjacket because he's crazy like that. He's a madman.
You know.
Christian puts the jacket on Shark Boy, but Rhino makes the save, which does take us to Bound for Glory. JB has Christian. Christian talks about how everybody talks about Rhino as just like them. He's an everyman. But where I come from, all those people are loser and bums. If he thought the concussion was bad after tonight, he's not going to be invited home for dinner at the Rhino's house anymore. Then comments that his aunt's cooking sucked. A local sports reference, catchphrase.
Hell yeah.
8 Mile street fight. Christian Cage defeats Rhino.
Dun 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 dun.
You had a lot of issues with the 8 Mile road signs.
Yeah, okay, so you know immediately this is like a gimmick sign because it's the size of them.
Mm.
And like, unless Americans simply cannot see anything ever, like it's not real. This cannot be real.
It was a very comically large road sign.
It was insane.
I'm going to go hunting around Detroit to try and find a sign this size. If you live in Detroit, I want you to take pictures of the 8 Mile road sign and send it to us.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter, at TNA History Pod. All our Detroit listeners, I know you're out there. Let us know how big those signs are and whether Liam is right or wrong.
It simply cannot be true.
Rhino enters through the crowd and then goes backstage to meet Christian.
I did like Rhino's crowd entrance.
Because he's a man of the people, Liam.
You know who had a really cool crowd entrance?
Who?
Recently? The AEW show that had Hobbs coming through the crowd looked sick. Because there was like some, like, was it the Vegas taping, I think?
I don't remember which one it was.
But like, yeah, he went straight through and it looked awesome. It was all like bright and like looked like a cool, unique building. These are the kind of buildings I would have honestly loved TNA to run for their pay-per-views.
As opposed to like the same building that looks like a worse version of a WWE show.
No, I mean, I'm talking about now. Like in 2006.
That's what I mean. Because like the CompuWare Arena is just like a more run-down version of like a building WWE would run.
I think it's a building, looks like a building ROH would run.
Oh, it's like that Terminal 6 or whatever? Terminal 5?
Yeah, like it just looks like ass. Like it just looks like a big shed. Like I would like these like weird sort of, I mean, I get it. Like these are like legitimately like the hardest kind of buildings to find. Like these 2,000 to 4,000 seaters or whatever.
Yeah, the mid-range ones.
It's very easy to go, this is the kind of buildings AEW should be running. And then you're like, well, there's not a lot of them, you know? It's hard to find them.
It is kind of crazy how literally every single city in America has a 15,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
All of
Sports.
them. Rhino goes to meet Christian backstage. They brawl in front of some cars. They don't really do much with the cars, but they brawl in front of them.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to do something really cool and like do like a fucking Def Jam Vendetta like fight. But they just, nope.
And they brawl back toward the building onto a Zamboni, which is the thing they use to clean the ice. As Rhino drives them. That was another thing of like, it seemed like a thing that was going to be really cool, but then Rhino drove like 4 feet and getting caught out.
You should have driven over him.
They then brawled on top of the Zamboni and Rhino punched him off of it. They had a bunch of like street lamps set up at ringside, plus an 8 Mile Road street sign. Christian cuts off Rhino's gore tent with a chair shot. Some crowd brawling. Christian waffled Rhino with the road sign, which drew blood from Rhino. Christian locked Rhino in a straitjacket as the crowd start chanting, use the table, regarding the 2 tables now set up around the ring. And I was like side-eyeing them, being like, don't you dare. It's the precursor to the worst chant in wrestling.
I hate it.
It was born here in Detroit. Christian missed a concerto on a straitjacketed Rhino, and Andrew Thomas then helped free Rhino from the straitjacket, which the crowd booed.
Which is bullshit.
The crowd booed it.
And like they booed it so loudly that like Tenay had to justify it and be like, well, he has to let him fight, you know. And I was like, no, he doesn't. All right.
It's a street fight. He should just stand there.
He's there to count the falls and rope breaks.
Rhino did shout, take this off of me at him.
What's he gonna do? Gore you?
That's true. He is tied up. He can't do anything about it. There was some miscommunication before Rhino just pile drove Christian off the apron through a table.
It was a great power driver in the end, to be fair.
Christian put his foot in the rope as Rhino got back in to break the count. Christian sidesteps a gore, sends Rhino crashing through a table. Rhino kicks out of it unprettier. Christian then buries Rhino in rubble, wails on him with a chair before pinning him. Rhino, like a nerd, beaten in his hometown.
Yeah, but like, he's not losing. Yeah.
It's Christian. Christian's the guy that matters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Rhino is your mid-card gatekeeper, and he can lose like this all the time. Fun plunder brawl, ultimately.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not like something I would recommend anyone has to go like catch, but like it's fine.
You would have maybe hoped it was like more of a hateful blood feud match, but it was more of like a regular plunder match, and that's all right.
I don't think this company has hateful blood feud in them at this point.
Well, we're not going to talk about it next. Actually, are we going to talk about it next? We are going to talk about it next. How about AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels against LAX?
Well, I don't think that was like hateful blood feud as much as it was like
They were stabbing each other with forks.
yeah, Homicide does that to everyone.
But Daniels stabbed him with a fork too.
I guess it was a little hateful blood feud, but like
They jumped AJ Styles in Mexico.
who doesn't?
Wow.
In my head, I have like a real like high standard for what that means to me. Like, if it's not Tony Storm and Mariah May gluing fucking glass to their fists as they punch each other, like, I need that much blood.
All right.
But I get what you mean. It's funny, when I was thinking about times in, like, TNA when they, like, did have that kind of feel, I was thinking of, like, tag stuff, too.
Or Harris Storm. Harris Storm next year is like the big one.
Yeah.
That is like the most
But I
hateful
haven't
blood
seen
feud
that
blow
yet,
up.
so that doesn't count.
It's not real to you.
Not yet. Don't predict the future.
Anything could happen.